Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. I apologize in advance for taking so long to release a video. I was gonna do a live stream last Friday, not this Friday, but the week after last Friday. But I ended up not doing a live stream, ended up being tired. But I'm pretty sure you guys understood because it was 90% done. I only needed to really do some tuning. My accelerometer that I was been using this whole time died. Luckily I had a spare, went ahead and resoldered it, went ahead and did the input shaper, then the pressure advance and profile tuning, and so it's pretty well right now. Right now I have it running at 4500K acceleration, 150 millimeters a second, 75 millimeters on the outer perimeters, and that's running at 1500 acceleration just to prevent any ringing on the corners, and it's running really well at the moment. I haven't pushed it yet. Would love to, but that's going to be like a future video. But right now I just got it built, just want to push it to its paces. I'm currently printing some ABS to print out the latch for, I'm redoing the latch on the Ironman V1.8, so that's what I'm currently printing in ABS. All right, so let's go through my thoughts and what I think about the build so far and compare it between the 1.8. So thoughts. So I really like this. I didn't expect it to be this easy to build. Actually, the 1.8 is a little bit more challenging to build because you have a lot more measurements, a lot more pieces to put in place. Not a lot more printed parts, but just a lot more intricate pieces to put in place to make sure everything lines up and it's like a nice little box. Versus this is a little bit more easier. Not a lot of extra parts other than the gantry and the bed that you really put in place and the printed pieces. So this takes a lot more printed pieces than that. But again, this is just a little bit more difficult to build wise versus this. What made this intimidating for me to build was the gantry, but it turned out to be easy. As long as you have something to hold the gantry on, to mount it on while you're inserting it in and screwing it down to the MGN9s, that's it. It's really easy. Another thing that makes this easy to build also is the fact that you can you tension the X, you do all the X stuff, the X gantry stuff outside of the printer, so it makes tension in the belt, running the belt and installing pretty much everything else. The tensioners here, the pulleys, it just makes everything while installing it much easier. So again, this is a very easy build. You don't have to follow the manual to the T because you can skip the bed, and I do agree with Nero in this case. Just skip the bed, installing the bed. You can do this last, man, honestly. But everything else you can work on. I had troubles installing the spring-loaded T-nuts that's recommended. I'm not sure why. To me, I think it's the T-slot extrusion, because you know you have the V-slot extrusion and T-slot. The V-slots are what all the Chinese-made printers are using, but this is the T-slot, so it's not like, it doesn't have that chamfer like the V-slot. So for some reason, the spring-loaded T-nut give me a hard time to put in. Now I've seen other people put it in and make it look easy, but for some reason it didn't work for me. So what I did in my which I will recommend you guys do, is to pre-run all the T-nuts prior to putting the frame together. So if you know you're putting the frame together, just go ahead and run all the T-nuts, pre-run them in, so you don't have to take the frame down again. and I did that, and that turned out to be the best solution for me. Now, like I said, for other people that can figure out how to install the spring-loaded T-nuts, it might not be an issue for you, but for me, that was a headache. Didn't want to have to do that on live stream, so I went ahead and pre-run all my T-nuts, and that worked out much better for me. But outside of that, pretty easy build. I'm using pretty much a spec build. I source everything myself. I'm using a Fadus Dragonfly hot end. Plenty for speed. I mean, you might not be able to push it like, you know, a fancy Magnum or a Nova hot end or one of those things, but for what I'm printing, it's plenty enough to push out plastic. So it's a great hot end for me. I've been using them in all my builds. Pretty much all my builds are running Dragonfly, Fadus Dragonfly hot ends, except for the Tronxy, which is running a regular Dragon high flow on that. So, but yeah, everything is running a Dragonfly hot end, and I really love it. The specific one is the BMO. I have the BMS on here, and I have the BMS over there, but everything else is the BMO. So really nice hot end in my opinion. Running a 350 watt power supply. It's the fan one. It's not the silent one. I don't care. I mean, this stuff is gonna make noise anyway, so I don't care to have it super silent. But it's the one with the 350 watt. Meanwhile, everything else, my spider board died, as I mentioned in the live stream. The first boot up, it died. Very disappointed in FiSec for rushing out a board that has a lot of QC issues. There's no excuse for that when people are spending that type of money and looking for a one board solution. But I'm glad that happened, because I went ahead and installed two board solution instead of one. So instead of running two SKR 1.4 turbos, I'm actually running a mix. I'm running an SKR Pro 1.2 with a SKR E3 Mini 1.2 on this, and it's working out great. And I'm glad the FiSec board died, because it kind of forced me to teach myself how to set up dual MCU with Clipper. And now I've learned that, oh my God, I'm probably never gonna run a one board solution anymore, just because I can take two E3 Minis or two of any board, really, any modern board, 32-bit board, may that be acrylic, Creality, you know, SKR, doesn't really matter which board, but now I can take two stock board with any printers and run them on Clipper. Like, that's awesome. So now that I know how to do that, I'm probably not going to run a one board solution, to be honest with you. Probably going to run two boards, get two cheap boards, pop them in, and get a bunch of stepper motors, and I don't have to buy any spare stepper driver outside of using the default stepper motors. So that's great. So I'm using that. I have an RBG inserted, so I did get an RBG inserted. As you can see, it's going on and off. This is regular RBG, not the digital RBG. I would have loved to implement the digital RBG, but I saw some very thin LED, digital LED I saw on AliExpress. I'm probably going to purchase. So in a future update, I'll install those where I can have a lot more control with the Clipper firmware. But because I'm using regular LEDs, which is not supported by the Clipper firmware, I had to buy a Bluetooth controller, which is mounted underneath there, 12 volt, to control the LED. So I have an app on my phone that I can use to control the lighting effect, all that cool stuff. But I would have loved if Clipper could control my lights, and you know, it's unfortunate, but it's all good. I figured out a way to mount the light anyways. Outside of that, again, easy build, very easy build. Did enjoy the build. It's a 300 by 300 by 300 basically build volume. Really nice printer. So let's get into the pros of this printer. So the pros for me is the belt. The belted Z eliminate any lead screw wobble. You know, if you have a bent lead screw or whatever, you know, defect on the lead screw, it eliminates that. Very fast Z-hops. If you use Z-hops, very quick Z-hop, you can make it really quick. Yeah, so sorry about that, guys. So the belted Z. So the belted Z is the benefit here. Again, no lead screw wobbles in this case. Very fast Z-hop, and it just helped to make a nicer quality print. You don't have to worry about no banding or any of that weird artifact in that matter. So that's a pro. Pro also is the bed, the stationary bed. That means you can print tall prints and there will be no kind of weird, because you know, with tall prints on lead screws, like even if it's on that, but you know, as the taller your print go, it tends to start wobbling and shaking. You don't have any issue with this because the bed is definitely fixed. It's only the top part of the gantry that moves up, so you can print tall prints and don't have any weird artifact at the top. So for example, I printed this this cup, and look at that, it came out super clean. This was printed with a high temperature PLA in gold, and it looks fantastic. Like, that is super detailed and clean. And I printed this at the same speed at what, 4500 K acceleration, 150 millimeters a second with PLA. I am super impressed with this printer. And I think that's a benefit with the stationary bed. And I noticed they've been going around, just to get off topic real quick. There's this video released. I can't remember the YouTuber released a video, but he's claiming that Bondtech gears are giving issues. Look at this. Do you see any of that weird wood grain issue? Nope, I don't see it. So that tells me that there's a flaw in his printer. The way he does his extruder or whatever, there's a flaw. To me, the flaw comes in of how you put up your printer, how you do your direct drive and installation. To me, the Voron toolhead got it right. If you follow the instruction and mount your toolhead correctly, you shouldn't have any banding. You shouldn't have any type of inconsistent layer issue, okay? If you take your time out to tune your printer correctly. So yeah, for example, I printed this the other day, just to get off topic real quick. This came out super clean. Look at that. That came off my trunk seat. Let me see if I can zoom. Yeah, there we go. That came off my trunk seat. No issue. There's no banding at all. Doesn't matter what angle I put it on. See? No issues. So again, in my opinion, it all depends on how well you tune your printer, whether that's slicer and the mechanics of your firmware. That's all that matters. Okay? And you know, of course, if you have tolerance issues, that might introduce some problems. But in my opinion, this seems the wood grain effect from the Bondtech gears look like more of a tolerance issue on how the direct drive setup is being implemented versus the gear having the problem. That's at least my opinion from what I'm seeing. However, back to the 2.4. But it's great. I printed this as an example. Same speed at 4500K. It's a mask. I didn't do it with Z-Op, so because I didn't do it with Z-Op, it kind of like wobbled off the bed a little bit at the last part, but it came out good regardless. Like it came out really nice. And so, and I printed at the same speed, so I'm impressed that I can print at this speed and don't lose any quality at all. So again, when it comes to no banding, the 2.4 has it in lock. Same thing with the switch wire. But just because you're using a belted Z, you just avoid a lot of the lead screw issue. However, lead screws, in my opinion though, now don't ask me because I haven't really do the research, but it seems like lead screw is still have that bit more precision than belts, okay? Because belt do stretch, right? So, and based on how the gearing and the ratio is set up in the firmware, that can affect the overall dimension of your print So to me, the lead screw still has that precision that you won't get with that belt, in my opinion. So I'll still, in my opinion, I'll still choose the 1.8 over the 2.4. And there's a couple of reasons. This is where I get into the cons. The cons for this now is it takes too long to heat up. It takes way too long to heat up. This full air volume here takes about an hour to get heated up. A whole hour. That's a long time to wait. And whereas the 1.8 here takes less than an hour. It takes like no more to 20 to 30 minutes, so half the time to heat up. And that's because the bed moves up and down. So when the bed is at top dead center here, you have a small area to heat up. And as it goes down, it's still having all that heat trapped. So you never have like a how should I put it, a draft issue with it, you know, because it's slowly moving down as it builds layer to layer, but it's still keeping a constant output of heat. So to me, this is much better. Based on measuring with the nozzle, now I measure with the nozzle, it's not the best thing to measure with. After an hour, Our printing, this thing gets about 50C. This thing gets about 62C. So this push, gets much hotter. And look, it's not even all the way sealed. There's gaps there in my panels. So I can only imagine if I fully seal this, how hot, even hotter it can get. So in my opinion, if you want to print like really high temp filaments, the 1.8 is the way to go. Like to print nice quality ABS, the 1.8 in my opinion is the way to go. But if you don't care, this does print ABS like I am doing right now. If you don't care for the long wait of time, you don't mind, then the 2.4 is also good. But for me, for that bit more precision, the 1.8 is the better build in my opinion. So that's the downside, the cons to this. But again, print quality is amazing, no question there. It prints awesome. Same thing with my 1.8. Print quality is just as good. What else to talk about? Price. I paid about $1,100 in total, a little bit over $1,100 for this. So it's coming a little bit under for this build volume size. And that's because I had some of the parts already in place, a lot of stepper motors, a lot of boards and gadgets I already had. So this was, I didn't have to spend too much on to get this going. On my 1.8, it was much cheaper. I had a lot of parts in place as well, a lot of spare parts from a lot of computer printers I've had. And so this cost me about $800 for the 1.8. But this is the most expensive printer so far that I've built. The most expensive at $1,100, quite a bit. But it's definitely worth it. Definitely a great printer. And in my opinion though, this is a good backup printer for me. It definitely be printing those type of things, the figurines, because like again, the fact that you can print tall objects and not have any type of weird banding effect at the top because the bed is stationary and the gantry, the whole gantry move up. It's just great for that. But in my case, in this would be printing my ABS only because it does great with ABS. It gets hot, really hot, good ambient temperature on the inside, and it cranks out ABS parts really well. That printer printed all the ABS parts for this, and like I said, all my ABS parts look really good. So again, each your own, but this to me is like the pinnacle of 3D printing, but it's a very hyped up 3D printer in my case. I think that's the real true pro in my opinion. This is the overall best one. But this is good. Like I said, they both have the pro and con. But if I should build another one, it'll be that one. It'll be another 1.8. I wouldn't build another 2.4 just because, like I said, the downside to me of it taking so long to heat up the whole chamber for printing ABS just makes no sense to me. It's just too long to heat up. But that's just my opinion, right? Maybe someone else, maybe theirs heat up faster, but I just based on my little experience I have with it, it just takes a little too long to heat up. Not only that, but I observe where it keeps the heat over the bed. So, which makes sense, yes, but all the heat stays stagnant over the bed. So basically, until the tool head moves and start moving that air back and forth, all the heat is like stagnated over the bed. So you can put your hand here and you won't feel any heat. But as soon as the tool head start printing and moving and storing up that hair current, then you start feeling the heat spread around the actual printer. That's not good. I don't like that, right? Versus the 1.8, because I said you have a small volume you're eating up, the hair eats up evenly around the whole printer, and it just works out so much better in my opinion. So again, to each your own. It's a great printer. I'm not shutting it down. It's a good printer. Well thought out design. Good for me personally for printing figurines. Yes, you can print mechanical parts and other little gadget like any other printer can, but if you just want that bit more precision, I will tell you the 1.8. I was in the nearest stream yesterday, and he did mention to hold off on building a 1.8 because I guess they're updating with a triple lead screw setup, which will be very interesting. So because he threw that out there, I would say anybody trying to build a 1.8, just hold off a little bit longer till they announce the 1.8 update. And what I'm probably gonna do, I want to still build a K3. Don't get me wrong, a K3, an Annex K3 is coming, regardless of what Nero thinks of the issue. Nero kind of stepped into why he doesn't look at the K3, because there was a past issue with the guy that runs a K3. That has nothing to do with me. I understand Nero's standpoint, but that has nothing to do with me. So I'm still building a K3 at some point down the road, not right now. But if they do release a 1.9 update, or whatever they're gonna call the new update for the 1.8, I'm probably gonna get a cheap X5 SA frame and build a 1. Whatever they're gonna call it with a triple Z axis. I think that'd be pretty cool. Coming from the Voron team, I'm pretty sure their implementation will be pretty nice too. So I'm probably gonna just watch and see before I build any other printers. But also I'm working on making the Enraged Rabbit MMU. Now keep in mind, I didn't mention this, and I'm not following Nero, so please don't get it wrong here. I've always wanted one, because the reason why I changed my mind, because that thing over there that I built, I haven't even submit a serial for it yet, that switch wire. I'm having a hard time doing the dual extrusion. So from that point on, I just kind of wanted to make an MMU. So it's been in my head. I just didn't announce it that I want to make one. And to show you that I wasn't joking, I already have some parts there in that corner to make one. So it's not like, you know, I'm copying him or anything like that. But again, we're just all interested in the same things. And I think it's cool, other than me exposing it, his channel is also exposing it. And so it just helped to reinforce the idea that there's a lot more to do with 3D printing than the same old building printers and everything and all that fun jazz, you know. So it's cool that he's building one, I'm building one. So that's just more information and more experience to give to you guys. Maybe you guys want to attempt to build one. And so I think that's pretty cool. So when that comes in, I don't know if I'm going to live stream that or just build it behind the back end. I'll probably just allow him to live stream it, Nero to live stream his version. I'm probably just going to build mine and then make a video on mine and talk about it personally. So, but yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. But that's it, guys. You know, I just wanted to make a quick video just to kind of show you guys it's done. I'm probably going to make a video to submit a serial at some point here. Probably look out for that in a day or two. But yeah, it's done. It's printing great. But that's it, guys. So appreciate you guys. Remember to like, subscribe. If you have any comments, just drop it down. I try to answer you guys' comments. As you can see, I'm always in that, you know, I get notification. I try to answer you guys as best as possible. Sometimes it may slip me, but I'll get to you at some point. But yeah, but like, subscribe, share, you know, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, guys, peace.